welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be doing a story time video. You guys have requested story time so many times, and I even put it out there like, what would you guys like to hear a story time video about? I feel like I don't live that interesting of a life to have like just awesome stories, and of course I got a million paranormal kind of story time, which I do have a few. I don't know how I would tell all of it and stuff like that, so I'm still thinking about that. But I did have one lovey ask how my husband and I met. So I think that's going to be our story time today. I'm going to tell you how my hubs and I met. So you're probably going to be like, yeah, right, soon as I tell you this, but it is the absolute truth. We met on a blind date. It's the absolute truth. Absolute truth. I'm still friends with the girl who hooked us up on the blind date. Maybe I can get her on here to like, yeah, this is true. So how all this came about is, most of you know that I'm from New Jersey. And when I was in my teens, like from 13 on until I got married on my own, my parents kind of were always in this place where they were together, they weren't together, they were together, they weren't together. My father was an addict, he had issues, and my mom loved him, and she was always trying to work things out with him. My mom loved him despite his flaws, but sometimes it was too much to take. And we're originally from Jersey, but we were living here because this is where my dad's parents are from. So when my parents would separate, my mom and myself and my sister would always go back to New Jersey, and my dad would stay here. And then when my parents would try to work things out again, we would come back to Pennsylvania. Well, it was one of those kinds of deals. I had made friends here in Pennsylvania, really good friends. And then we left because my parents were having issues, and we went back to New Jersey. A couple months later, my parents tried to work it out again, and we came back. Well, when I came back, of course, I tried to hook up with, if you want to call it that way, with one of my really good friends. Her name is Lori. And over the summer, she had met a young man named Scott, and they were dating. And Scott's best friend at the time was my husband, Jeff. So when I came back into the area, Lori was like, oh, I met this hottie. And I'm spending all my time with him. But he has a friend that usually tags along with us. And my sister's too young, so would you be interested in like meeting him like on a blind date? We could go out, the four of us, but it would be like a blind date kind of thing. So just wanting to be with my girlfriend because I was back in the area and I wanted to chill, I was like, yeah, okay, that's cool. So at this time, when I met Jeff, I think I was 15 going on 16, and he was already 19 or 20, somewhere in there. It's like that kind of age. So when I met him, I have to be completely honest with you, I didn't like him. I didn't like him at all. He just was not my type. He just was not my type. And at that time, he was a volunteer firefighter, so he was like never around, but he was older, and he had his own car. He did have his own car, and he was working, but he just wasn't my type. Jeff is very reserved. He's very quiet. If you probably already know, because if you've been subscribed to me for any length of time, I'm extremely outgoing. I'm gonna be very loud. At that time in my life, I can't say I didn't know the Lord because I was brought up in the church, but at that time in my life, I was kind of angry with God, and I kind of was rebelling and doing my own thing. So on top of all of that, I was quite crazy at that time in my life as well. And he just did not fit my ideal boyfriend material because he was so quiet, so reserved. But I went out with him anyways because it was going to be a group date kind of thing, and I didn't want to stay home, and I wanted to hang out with my girlfriend, so I was just like, cool. And Jeff was always the designated driver because he was the only one out of all four of us who had a car. So we were all much younger than him because my girlfriend, Lori, was my age. Actually, I think she's like a year younger than I am. And I think Scott was right around in that age too. I think he was 17 maybe. So he was older and he had a car. So the more we did things together, we kind of were like a foursome thing, but like I wasn't officially dating Jeff. We just kind of hung out together. You know, we did the roller skating thing. We would go to the movies. We would go to the mall. The boys would get into some antics sometimes because Scott was more like me. It's so weird. My girlfriend Lori, if she's watching this, she'll probably kill me, but I feel that she's very quiet and very reserved. And, you know, I was always the loudmouth, instigator, wild one, where she was like, Bitsy, stop it, you're going to get us in trouble, kind of thing. Her boyfriend Scott was just like that. Huge instigator, always in trouble, loud, being crazy. And then Jeff was like Lori, really reserved, laid back. So it's so weird how this dynamics. And it's like, it's the truth. Opposites always attract, I guess. I don't know. So me and Scott were always the loud, crazy ones. And then Jeff and Lori are like, we're always the reserved, like, guys, don't do that kind of thing. But sometimes Scott would pull Jeff into, like, doing silly things. Like, we got kicked out of a store one time because they went through the toy aisle and hit all the buttons to, like, the fire trucks, the ambulances, and all that stuff that they made the sirens and stuff. They hit every single one of them in the toy aisle, and it was so loud. Yeah, they kicked us out of, I believe it was Ames at the time. So we did do some crazy things, but we were always together because if I wanted to hang out with my girlfriend Lori, who was my best friend at that time, still is my best friend. She was in our wedding, the whole thing. I had to hang out with Jeff and Scott. So we went to amusement parks together and blah, 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 blah. And then just over time, it just, like, he started holding my hand. He started telling me how beautiful I was. He would call me on his own. He asked me out on dates on our own. And at the time, I really have to tell you, I still did not like him because he was so quiet and he was so reserved. But I would go out. I would go out with him, even if it was just him and I. I would go out simply because he had a car and I was much younger and I didn't want to be home. I just have to put it out there. I didn't want to be home, so it was kind of like my way out. And then he started introducing me to some of his other friends and some of his family, because he's from this area and things like that. And then it happened to be that one of his friends really, really started to like me, and I wasn't sure how I felt about him either. But that made Jeff extremely jealous. Extremely jealous. So then he started to do other things, like really, really, really try to be like my boyfriend. Well, in the midst of all of this, this is the point I think I really found out that I liked Jeff, was I got mono, and I got really, 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 really sick. And no, you don't get mono from kissing, because at this point, I hadn't even kissed Jeff. I haven't kissed nobody in a long time. I got it from the water fountain from school. Just put it out there, because I know mono's like the kissing disease. Didn't get it from kissing. But I got mono, and I mean like really, really bad. My throat closed up, the whole thing, it was really bad. So they flew me to the hospital, or I forget how I got there, but it was like serious. I forget how I got from the doctor's office to the hospital, because it was so bad. I was kind of like delirious, to be honest with you. But I was admitted, and I was in there for almost 9 days. I was that sick with mono. I was in the hospital almost for 9 days, and he came and saw me every single day. He called me. He came to the hospital with, if I remember correctly, like roses and balloons and stuff. The thing that really stands out to me is the day I came home. The day I came home, my mom brought me home, and of course I was still not well. So she was taking me to my bedroom, and him, Lori, and Scott showed up at my house, and he had balloons and roses and teddy bears. He had all of this stuff, and he brought it into my room, and he was just like, I missed you. Are you okay? Like, he was just so attentive, and I could just see how really, truly concerned he was for me being that sick. And that kind of melted the ice heart that I had at that time. So I started to let him in a little more instead of allowing him, because I really just kind of kept him at bay If I really want to be honest with you, I used him. I did. I used him in the beginning of our relationship simply because he was older and he had a car and I was wild and crazy and I didn't want to be home and I wanted to be out and I wanted to do my thing and I wanted to hang out with my girlfriend and I just wanted to be a crazy teenager. But after I got sick and I saw how concerned and attentive, like, this guy really does care for me. Like, he really does care for me. It's not just a typical boy kind of thing, if you know what I mean. Like, he really does care for me. So I started to hang out with him a little more. And I think from there, it's just history. It's just history. It's like one of those things where I really didn't like him, but I spent all this time with him and he just grew on me. And like, the more I got to know him, even though he was still quiet and reserved, and even if you watch our videos now, like my vlogging videos when we're always together, he doesn't like to be on camera. He doesn't want to be filmed. He's very reserved kind of thing. I'm trying to break him out of that shell. It's like, baby, if you're going to be married to me and I'm going to do this vlogging thing, you're going to be on camera. But he's still a little reserved and stuff. He's still like that. And I'm still outgoing. I'm still crazy half the time. That's why I do YouTube. Because it's like my outlet to be crazy. We're still extremely opposites. Very much opposites still. We do have our things that we do love. You know, we do love our flea markets and we like to shop and we love movies and we do have like similar interests that way, but our personalities are completely different. But we just, I don't know, like after a few months and we just spent all that time together, whether it was because we wanted to or just because we were together because his best friend and my best friend were dating. So if we wanted to be with our best friends, then we had to be together. He literally just grew on me. And then soon as I gave him a little teeny tiny bit, no lie guys, soon as I gave him a little teeny tiny bit of like, I'm interested in you in a boyfriend kind of way, oh, he went berserk. He bought me a ring. He bought me a promise ring, was the first ring he bought me. Then he got me an engagement ring. I think it was 4 or 5 months in, he was asking me to marry him, which I have on film. And it's all on VHS. And if there is like, who has a VHS player? I don't. I need to get that converted. I wish I could put in the clip here because my parents knew that he was going to do this and they videotaped him proposing to me on Christmas Eve. So I have all that on video. The whole thing. So, and when I turned 18, my birthday is December 28th. So December 28th, I turned 18. January 3rd, I got married. And we have been together ever since. It's been 19 years later. 19 years later, 2 kids. We're still happily married. But it's really weird. I know it's 19 years later, but it still feels like I'm still figuring out who he is, and I'm sure he's still figuring out who I am. I still shock him at least once. Once a week, I think I shock him. He doesn't shock me that often because he's so quiet and reserved, but I still shock him, I think. But anyways, really and truly, that's how my husband and I met. And after that, I never left Pennsylvania because we got married. Now my mom left my dad again, and she went back to New Jersey with my sister. But I stayed here in Pennsylvania to pursue my relationship with Jeff, and then we ended up getting married, and then of course we run a home and stuff of our own, and we've been going strong here ever since. So we've never been separated or anything like that. We have been married for 19 years. We've always been under the same roof. We've always been together. Yes, we've had our ups and downs, but I think our good outweighs our bad. The only time we really had bad times is the only thing that, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know if you guys be interested or not. Jeff and I very rarely disagree on anything but our kids. We have very different parenting styles, if I can put it that way. We just do. So the only thing that we really have like big arguments, if that's what you want to call it, really and truly has been over our kids. Really and truly. But it's never been to the point where we're like gonna leave each other over it or anything like that. You know, and of course we've had fights over money. I mean, what couple out there doesn't fight over money? You know, I'm the type of person, this is weird though, I'm the crazy one, but I'm the one who wants to like, don't spend no money, let's put it in the bank and hold on to it, and all our bills paid, and that's it. Where he's like, I got $10, I'm gonna spend 12, which makes me nuts. And Jeff is live in the moment. He never thinks about 10 minutes from now, let alone a week from now, let alone a month from now. Whereas today, which is Tuesday, I know what we're having for dinner Thursday because I had the whole week planned kind of thing. That's who I am. I'm plan ahead, think ahead kind of person where he's like, oh, shiny, let's do it now. And I'm like, yeah, I know it's shiny, but how much does it cost? What's it going to detail? How is this going to affect my life? 5 years from now, am I still going to be like, yeah, that's me. So that kind of causes conflict sometimes because he just wants to, which is weird because I'm the crazy outgoing like nutso one and he's the quiet, real reserved one, but he'll do anything in the moment and I'm like, wait. You got to give me at least 45 minutes to analyze this whole thing and see how this is going to affect me 15 years from now before I make a decision. We're so opposite. But it works. So that was my how I met my husband story. A little bit about our personality. If I can just say, he's really, really, really good to me. I try really hard to be good to him. We would do anything for each other. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. We just have some personality conflict. But it makes life very interesting. But we really and truly did. We met on a blind date. And Lori was no longer with Scott by the time Jeff and I got married. So one of Jeff's really good friends was his groomsman, which we hooked up with Lori, and they were dating at the time. So it still worked out. So Jeff had one of his very good friends from the fire hall was his groomsman, and Lori, who hooked us up, put us together on a blind date, was my maid of honor, and she's still my friend today, and she takes all the credit for our relationship because she hooked us up. She was the blind date coordinator, so she takes all the glory for that. I give it to her. But that is how my husband and I met. I don't know if that was the least bit interesting, but that is our little love story. That's how we met. That's how we got together. That's how this thing came about, was on a blind date. So don't always believe that stigmata that says, you know, blind dates don't work, because it worked on our account. Even though I hated him. I mean, I can't say I hated him, but I was like, this kid. Yeah, sure. Yeah, alright, I'll go out with you guys, but he ain't boyfriend material. I'm not the least bit interested in him. No way. 19 years later. We've been married for 19, but we've been together for almost 21. Yeah, almost 21 years we've been together. So 21 years later. What do I know? But anyways, maybe next time I can get a paranormal story together for you. Now that the weather's warm, how about I do a paranormal story in the middle of a graveyard? Would you guys enjoy that? See what I'm saying? I'm crazy. I'm weird. If I tell that to Jeff, he'd be like, ew, you're gonna go to it. You're weird. Like, he would just flat out tell me that, where I'd be like, ooh, this is so cool. Anyways, I hope you guys did enjoy this crazy little short story time video of how my husband and I met. I hope you guys have a great, blessed week. Let me know about that paranormal graveyard thing. Would you be interested? Make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Subscribe if you're new to my channel. If you're subscribed before and you're kind of new, I just want to say hi, welcome. Thanks so much for sticking around for my craziness. If you think you'd like my craziness, hit that subscribe button and become part of the Lovey family. Remember to always, always do what you love And remember, blind dates may just work out for you, even if you don't like them at first. You just never know. You guys have a great week, and I'll be talking to you soon. Bye, guys.